Welcome to the lesson on measures of central tendencies. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define the mean, median, and mode of data. You will also be able to calculate the mean, median, and mode of the given data. Meet Mr. Pinch Hitter. Sadly, he's not in his best of forms this season. Here he goes again for a duck. Here are the runs that were scored by him in the last 15 innings. The cricket season is ending and Mr. Pinch Hitter has to submit a performance record. He can do it in any of the 3 ways listed on this form. Mr. Pinch Hitter would obviously want to make a good impression. Let us find values for these 3 quantities and see which one Mr. Pinch Hitter would like to use. First, let us find the average score of Mr. Pinch Hitter in his last 15 innings. Here are the scores made by Mr. Pinch Hitter in his last 15 innings. Now, his average score is equal to the sum of the scores made in all the innings divided by the number of innings played. Let us calculate. The sum of all the runs scored by Mr. Pinch Hitter in 15 innings is 209. Dividing this total by the number of innings, that is 15, we get his average score in 15 innings as 13.93. The average score of Mr. Pinch Hitter also represents the mean of the scores made by him in the last 15 innings. The mean of a given set of values is equal to the sum of all the values divided by the total number of values. The mean of a given set of values is represented by the expression shown here. Here x with a bar over it represents the mean of n number of values. Xi with a summation sign denotes the sum of values of x from its first to nth value. Let us apply this equation to Mr. Pinch Hitter's case. In both methods that we have used so far to calculate the mean, we have added a large number of values. This would be more problematic if we were to using data from say 30, 50 or 100 innings. Let us see if there is a simpler way to calculate the mean. Let us arrange Mr. Pinch Hitter's scores for the last 15 innings into a frequency distribution table. Now let us see how this helps. Here the mean x bar is equal to the sum of the products of different values of x and their respective frequencies divided by the sum of all the frequencies of the different values of x. Let us apply this formula to verify the value of the mean we calculated earlier. We see that the value of the mean agrees with the value we calculated earlier. So, we have found the value of the first quantity of Mr. Pinch Hitter's performance record. Now, let us find the value of the second quantity. Now, let us find the middle score of Mr. Pinch Hitter in his last 15 innings. To find the middle score, we arrange his scores over 15 innings into ascending order. Now, let us find the value that lies in the middle of these numbers. In this case, we see that this value is 9. The value that lies in the very center of a given set of values arranged in ascending or descending order is called the median of the given data. If the number of the given values is odd, as in this case 15, the median is given by the formula shown here. By the formula, the median of this group of values is the 8th value or the number 9. Now suppose we were considering Mr. Pinch Hitter's scores of only 14 innings. Let us see if the median remains the same. We see that there is no middle value here. How do we find the median in this case? If the number of the given values is even, as in this case 14, the median is the mean of the two middlemost values, which is given by the formula shown here. By the formula, the median of this group of values is the mean of the numbers at the 7th and 8th position of 5.5. So we found the values of the first two quantities. Now let us see how he fares with the third quantity. Now, let us find the number of runs that Mr. Pinch Hitter has scored the most number of times in his last 15 innings. Here are the scores made by Mr. Pinch Hitter in his last 15 innings. Is there a quick way to spot the runs scored most often? A frequency distribution table may help. Now, there is no confusion. Clearly, Mr. Pinch Hitter has scored a 0 the maximum number of times in his last 15 innings. The value that occurs the maximum number of times in a given set of values is called the mode of the given data. Here the mode is 0. Well, we have found the values for all the three quantities in Mr. Pinch Hitter's performance record. Which of these three values do you think he would like to use? Do you think that an average score would always give him the best value to present? Let's find out. Mean, median, and mode together are called the measures of central tendencies of data. They help us to better interpret data, but they are affected by the distribution of data and thus should be considered with other information. Now, suppose the scores of Mr. Pinch Hitter in the last 15 innings are as shown here. Which central tendency would he choose this time to project a good performance? In this case, the average score or mean is 11.73. The middle score or median in this case is 7. The run scored the maximum number of times or mode in this case is 49. Would Mr. Pinch Hitter still prefer to use his average score or mean in his performance record? Not likely. This time he would prefer to use the mode. Thus, we can see that the central tendencies of data depend on the distribution of values and must be considered with other information for effective interpretation of data.